Hey guys, Harris here, and you've heard of Apple, right? The company behind the iPhone, the iPad, and the Mac. These are all products that are very well known and are very successful. But what if I told you there are some products that you didn't even know existed from Apple? Today I'm showing 5 products from Apple through their extravagant history they probably wish everyone would just forget about. Now I'm going to list these in reverse chronological order, starting with when they were released. Starting out with number 5 is the Apple iPod Hi-Fi. Now this came out on February 28th of 2006, and the Hi-Fi was essentially a giant iPod dock, but it cost $350. Now that speaker, it sounded okay from the reviews, but it was humongous, it didn't have AM or FM radio, and it only fit a select number of iPods, when Apple really only had their iPods out at this time as their main features and products. So this Hi-Fi dock was extremely expensive, extremely big, and lacked some of the basic functionality that you'd expect from even some of these speakers and docks back then. Now this product only lasted about a year and 6 months, as it was discontinued in September 5th of 2007. Now number 4 was the iTunes phone. Now granted, this was actually technically a Motorola phone. This was called the Motorola ROKR, a candy bar style phone. Now Steve Jobs introduced this in September of 2005, and this was essentially a phone from Motorola that featured iTunes. Now this could fit a whopping 100 songs. It did have Bluetooth, and it did have a micro SD card, so that even beats the functionality of the iPhones today. But this essentially was the first phone that Apple really made. It was kind of a collaboration between Apple and Motorola, but it was called the iTunes phone as a nickname, but the Motorola ROKR. And like I said, there's basically a regular phone that did have iTunes capability, and it was the first phone to do so, so it kind of was technically Apple's first phone. Coming in at number 3 was the iPod plus HP. Now Steve Jobs introduced this on January 8th of 2004, and this essentially was just an iPod with an HP logo on the back. Now Apple did this in 2 attempts of taking HP, a big company at the time, and trying to get more sales and make their iPod more popular by simply branding this with HP. Now this only accounted for 5% of Apple's total iPod sales, so it really didn't have any effect. So just 1.5 years later, on July 29th of 2005, Apple discontinued their partnership with HP and ended the iPod plus HP. Coming in at number 2 was a product that I was certainly surprised to find out about. This is the Apple Pippin. That's right, the Apple Pippin. On September 1st of 1996, in the United States, this Apple Pippin was launched. Now this was a $600 multimedia gaming console that combined gaming and a lot of other features into one system, similar to the Xbox One today. Now this beast that ran a 66 megahertz processor came with a remote called the Applejack, and this was quickly discontinued in 1997, this particular model, but this was Apple's own gaming console, and I'm sure you're just as surprised as I am to find out that Apple indeed had a gaming console. Now coming in at number 1 for this list would be the Apple QuickTake. Now this is actually a camera. Now introduced in 1994, this was the first model of the QuickTake, but there are later models of the QuickTake, updated versions, and it ended up going until about 1997 with the different models. Now this camera was a very large device, and it had a whopping 1 megabyte of storage. Now that 1 megabyte of storage stored 8 photos at its highest resolution, 640 by 480. Now what is that? Is that 3 megapixels? Is that 2? Is that 1 megapixel? Is that 0.7 megapixels like the iPod 4th generation? No, that's 0.3 megapixels. That's right. 8 photos at a 0.3 megapixel resolution. At that time, it was kind of the industry, but it's just amazing to see how we've introduced cameras now with 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 50 times that resolution. So the Apple QuickTake was a 0.3 megapixel camera that Apple introduced in 1994. So that's it for this list. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, make sure you do share it, as I put a lot of work into this, and I hope you do subscribe, give this video a like, and comment any other Apple products that you think you didn't know about, or any Apple products that you enjoyed from this list. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is Harris, and I'll see you guys all later. Hey guys, Harris here. Hey guys, Harris here, and you've heard of Apple. Hey guys, Harris here, and you've heard of... And I'm sure you didn't know that Apple did have a gaming... I'm sure you were... I'm sure you're surprised to find out that Apple indeed have, and it can store 8 shots at the resolution of 6